The Springlock Suit is one of the most elegant pieces of engineering in gaming history. A hand crank, a set of coiled springs, and suddenly you've got a machine that doubles as a costume. It's genuinely brilliant, but that brilliance came with a body count that nobody saw coming. So today we're breaking down every single Springlock Suit in the FNAF franchise and everything we know about them, starting with the one that started it all, Fredbear. Before William Afton turned everything he touched into a crime scene, there was Fredbear, one of two original Springlock animatronics at Fredbear's Family Diner, co-created by Henry Emily alongside Spring Bonnie. The concept was kind of beautiful. You turn a hand crank, the coiled springs compress all the endoskeleton parts against the walls of the suit, and you're left with a hollow center where a human performer can step right in. Animatronic 1 minute, walking costume the next. Elegant, functional, and inherently lethal. See, the suit worked exactly as intended. Nobody designed it to be a coffin, but the springs had other plans. One failure during a routine performance, and a worker was dead before anyone could figure out what went wrong. Not murder, not sabotage. Just a machine doing what machines do when maintenance slips and metal gets tired. Which is, you know, not ideal. This happened before the bite of '83, before the diner closed, before any of the supernatural horror the franchise is known for. Fredbear represents that tiny window where Springlock technology was just technology. No possessed animatronics, no child murders, no purple guy lurking in the back room, just a golden bear entertaining kids at a family restaurant. But none of that changes what Fredbear actually represents. He's the before picture, the proof that this technology could have been harmless if the right people had stayed in charge. Unfortunately, the right people didn't stay in charge. And Fredbear's partner suit is the reason why. Spring Bonnie Fredbear was a tragedy. Spring Bonnie is something worse. Mechanically, they're identical. Same Springlock hybrid technology, same hand crank, same compressed endoskeleton, same grinning face designed to make children feel safe. Spring Bonnie is a yellow rabbit with a purple bow tie and 2 black buttons, built as Fredbear's stage companion. On paper, nothing about this suit is different from the one we just talked about, but the suit didn't change. The person inside it did. William Afton wore Spring Bonnie like a hunting blind. He used it to walk right up to children, earn their trust, and lure them into the back room. 5 children, Gabriel, Susie, Fritz, Cassidy, and either Jeremy or Michael, depending on the continuity. He murdered all of them, then he stuffed their bodies into the other animatronics, which is, you know, not ideal. Here's where it gets complicated. Those children didn't stay dead. Their spirits possessed the suits they were stuffed into. Gabriel became Freddy, Susie became Chica, Fritz became Foxy, Cassidy became Golden Freddy, the 5th became Bonnie. Every haunted animatronic in the franchise, every jump scare, every night shift from hell traces directly back to this one suit and the man who wore it. And Spring Bonnie doesn't just exist in one version of the story. The games, the novels, the Fazbear Fright series, the 2023 film, every continuity keeps coming back to the same image. A grinning yellow rabbit leading children somewhere they won't come back from. Even Glitchtrap from Help Wanted deliberately takes Spring Bonnie's form. That design is the franchise's universal symbol of predation. Same technology as Fredbear. Completely different legacy. But if you think wearing the suit was the worst thing that happened to it, wait until you hear what happened when Afton climbed back inside. Springtrap William Afton murdered children while wearing a Spring Bonnie suit, and then the suit murdered him right back. Here's what happened. After someone dismantled the original animatronics and freed the spirits of the 5 children Afton had killed, those spirits cornered him in the sealed safe room of the abandoned pizzeria. Nowhere to run, so Afton did the only thing he could think of. He climbed into the Spring Bonnie suit, the same suit he'd used to lure those kids to their deaths. Believing it would protect him, it didn't. The Springlocks failed. Every compressed endoskeleton part snapped inward simultaneously, crushing metal cross beams and support rods through his body. Springs, gears, and mechanical joints punctured organs and pinned limbs in place. He died inside his own disguise, killed by the exact same technology he'd exploited to kill others. Which is, you know, not ideal. But here's where it gets worse. He didn't actually die. Not Fall's remnant, a supernatural substance born from concentrated agony and soul fragments. Afton's very being merged with the mechanical structure, his awareness distributed across every rusted spring and corroded joint, and then he sat there, for decades, sealed inside a bricked-up safe room, fully conscious, rotting inside a machine that was also rotting around him. When Fazbear's Fright eventually discovered an excavated Springtrap for their horror attraction, the thing that shambled out moved with jerky, erratic lurches, a machine so close to total mechanical failure it shouldn't have been functional at all, but it was functional enough to hunt you. This is the suit that turned FNAF from a jump scare game into genuine horror. And if you think a dead man trapped in a collapsing machine is as bad as it gets, wait until you see what happened to that machine next. Scrap Trap. When Springtrap showed up in Pizzeria Simulator, something was wrong. And I don't mean, oh, he's a corpse in a robot suit wrong, because we were used to that. I mean, the suit itself looked fundamentally different. Different facial structure, different endoskeleton, a more compact frame with the entire pelvis region just straight up missing. And then there's the chest cavity, which now features a heart-shaped hole punched right through the center of it, which is, you know, not ideal. Here's where it gets complicated. The community has a theory called Scrap Trap suit, and it proposes something wild. Springtrap and Scrap Trap aren't two versions of the same suit. They're two completely different Springlock suits. And before you dismiss that, consider this. In Ultimate Custom Night, both Springtrap and Scrap Trap appear as separate entries on the roster. Not reskins, not alternate modes. Two distinct characters sitting right next to each other. Voice lines confirm both suits contain William Afton. Same guy, same murderous intent. But the mechanical differences are so significant that either Afton completely rebuilt the suit using salvaged parts, or he transferred himself into an entirely different one. Neither option is comforting. That heart-shaped chest hole has driven the community into two camps. Some believe it's a literal mechanical replacement for organs Afton lost in the fire. Others see it as symbolic, a visual representation of his total loss of humanity. Either way, it's deliberately placed. And here's the quietly unsettling part. Scrap Trap moves better than Springtrap. More fluid, more purposeful, less like a broken machine dragging itself forward, and more like something that knows exactly what it's doing. He's not just surviving inside these suits. He's getting better at it. Every iteration is more deliberate, more functional, less human. But if you think Afton's physical evolution is disturbing, wait until you see what happened when he stopped needing a body altogether. Burn Trap. Here's the thing about every other suit we've talked about so far. We know what it is. Springtrap is Afton and Spring Bonnie. Scrap Trap is Afton rebuilt. Simple enough. Burn Trap? Nobody knows what Burn Trap is. Not the community, not the theorists, and honestly, possibly not even Scott Cawthon himself. Burn Trap shows up as the tertiary antagonist of Security Breach, lurking in the underground ruins of the old pizza place. And on paper, the answer should be obvious. The Security Breach files straight up say Burn Trap is Afton. Case closed, right? Turns out no, because the suit itself doesn't match. The coloration is olive and dark yellow instead of Springtrap's greenish teal. The endoskeleton structure is completely different. The exposed human components don't line up with Afton's corpse from previous games. It's like someone built an Afton suit from a description instead of from the original, and that's where the theories start piling up. The Agony Corpse theory suggests Burn Trap was literally manifested from Afton's supernatural agony combined with Remnant. The Edwin Corpse theory proposes Edwin Murray from the Tales books is the actual human fused with the endoskeleton. Some say it's Michael Afton's remains. Others say Henry Emily. Each theory has evidence. None have proof. Then there's the big one. A lot of people believe Glitch Trap, the digital virus from Help Wanted, somehow achieved physical manifestation through Burn Trap, merging with an endoskeleton to bridge the digital and physical worlds. Which is, you know, not a normal thing for a rabbit suit to do. There's also a camp arguing Burn Trap isn't Afton's consciousness at all, but the Mimic 1 program simply copying his behavior. Just a machine doing a very convincing impression of a dead serial killer. That's what makes Burn Trap genuinely unsettling. Every previous suit had a clear answer. This one has 6 competing theories and 0 consensus. But if you think the identity crisis ends with a physical suit, wait until we talk about what happens when Afton goes fully digital. Glitch Trap. Every suit we've talked about so far has one thing in common. They're real. Metal, springs, fabric, corpses. Glitch Trap is none of those things, and that's exactly what makes it the scariest one on this list. Glitch Trap takes the form of a person wearing a Spring Bonnie costume. Golden yellow rabbit, grinning face, purple vest, bow tie, stitches running across one waving hand. It looks like a suit. It moves like someone's inside it, but there's nobody inside it because it doesn't exist in the physical world. It's code. Malicious, self-preserving, predatory code. Here's how it got there. When developers at Silver Parasol were building the Fazbear virtual experience, they scanned old animatronic circuit boards into their system. Those chips carried something that wasn't in any spec sheet. A developer known known only as Tape Girl, noticed first, documented everything, tried to quarantine the anomaly, and attempted to delete it. The code responded by fragmenting itself across 16 separate audio files, which is, you know, not ideal. As the player collects those 16 tapes throughout Help Wanted, Glitchtrap begins appearing in the hub world. At first it's translucent, passive, just standing in the distance and waving, but with every tape you recover, it becomes more solid, more animated. You're literally rebuilding the thing that's trying to consume you, and the game never tells you to stop. Once all 16 logs are reassembled, Glitchtrap fully materializes and attempts to merge with the player's consciousness. Not kill you, merge with you. It wants to wear you as the suit. William Afton started by putting on a suit to kill children. Now the suit itself has become the predator, and it's trying to put on a person. The leading theory is that Glitchtrap is Afton's consciousness, digitized through the circuit boards and surviving as executable code long after his body was destroyed. Nobody knows for sure, but whatever it actually is, it proves something terrifying. The Springlock Suit concept doesn't need springs, locks, or even a physical form. It just needs you to let it in. But if Glitchtrap is horror without a body, the next suit is horror that's all body, and you're the one trapped inside it. The sister location, Suit. Every other suit on this list has a name. This one doesn't. It has 0 confirmed identity, 0 confirmed origin, and 0 explanation for why it's sitting in Circus Baby's entertainment and rental waiting for you to climb inside it. And yet, Night 4 of Sister Location is the single most visceral Springlock experience in the entire franchise, because it's the only time the game makes you the person inside the suit. Here's what happens. At the end of Night 3, Funtime Foxy jump scares you. You black out. When you wake up, Circus Baby is talking to you, and she's already put you inside a Springlock suit. No consent, no warning. Just you're in a suit now, keep the springs wound or you die. Cool, that's also a thing that happened. For roughly 3 real-time minutes, you sit there holding the spring locks in place while Minirenas crawl up the sides of the suit, trying to unwind them. You can wiggle to shake them off, but every wiggle partially loosens the springs. So the mechanic is essentially do nothing and the tiny clown dolls kill you, or fight back and maybe kill yourself, which is, you know, not ideal. But here's where it gets weird. Nobody knows what this suit actually is. The leading theory is that it's a prototype Circus Baby suit from Afton Robotics' development phase before the Funtime line was finalized. Some fans think it could be a third original Springlock animatronic built alongside Fredbear and Spring Bonnie that simply never got documented. And Baby's motivation for stuffing you in there? Never explained. Maybe she's protecting you from Funtime Foxy. Maybe she's containing you while she arranges the scooping room sequence on Night 5. I don't know what to tell you. The suit has no name, no history, and no answers. But it does have one distinction nobody else on this list can claim. It's the only Springlock suit that lets you feel exactly how terrifying these things are from the inside. And speaking of bringing Springlock horror to life, the FNAF movie took that concept and ran with it. Movie Spring Bonnie, every suit we've talked about so far exists as pixels on a screen. Spring Bonnie, Springtrap, Scrap Trap, all of them rendered in game engines and left to the imagination. But in October 2023, someone actually built one, and then they put Matthew Lillard inside it. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie brought Springlock suits into the real world, and the result is exactly as unsettling as you'd expect. William Afton stalks through his pizzeria wearing what the film calls the Yellow Rabbit, never once referred to as Spring Bonnie by name. It's an old mechanical Springlock suit, and the film treats it less like a costume and more like a weapon. Afton doesn't just wear the suit to blend in, he uses it to physically fight, throwing hands with protagonist Michael Schmidt in a full choreographed brawl while encased in animatronic rabbit armor, which is, you know, a creative choice. Here's where the movie gets interesting though. In the games, Afton's Springlock death is supernatural. The ghosts of murdered children corner him, he panics, climbs into the suit, and the springs fail. It's ambiguous, spiritual, and deeply tied to the franchise's possession mechanics. The film throws all of that out. Movie Afton gets stabbed during the confrontation. The physical trauma triggers the Springlock failure, and the suit crushes him in a sequence that's entirely grounded in mechanical simple cause and effect. No ghosts required, just a knife and bad engineering. The cinematic universe also makes some pretty significant canon departures. Vanessa is Afton's daughter in the film, which directly contradicts the games where his known children are Elizabeth, Michael, and the crying child. Elizabeth doesn't exist in the movie timeline at all, and the entire sister location plotline gets erased. The community has mostly settled on treating the film as a separate timeline, which is probably the healthiest approach for everyone involved. But none of that stopped the movie from making $297 million on a $20 million budget. That's nearly a 15x return, making it Blumhouse's highest grossing film ever, despite critics largely hating it. The fans didn't care. They showed up in droves because Springlock Suits had officially jumped from indie horror games to Hollywood blockbusters. That's the real legacy here. A mechanical concept dreamed up by one developer in a small game engine became a cultural fixture recognizable enough to sell out theaters worldwide. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.